Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So yes, last time on the video I did ask, did you want to see the saffron rice that was meant to be served with the sauté dishes that we've learned? And some of you have been saying, yes, absolutely, we want to see this. So I'm going to do this quickly in this video. It is based on a technique that we've seen before, the classic pilaf rice. If you're new to this or you don't know that method, you're struggling to cook rice, let me tell you that this French style pilaf here flavored with saffron is so easy. First off, you can use any type of rice you want. Okay, if you want to use a standard rice, a basmati, I use jasmine rice and this is the best. There's no need to wash it, there's no need to boil it. We're going to do this in a one pot fashion, okay, in a sauté pan with some aromatics. With, of course, here the saffron. This is what's going to give that very specific type of flavor. And the great thing about this is that we start on the stove and it is then cooked in the oven. Cooking time about 17 minutes and you're going to see it's foolproof. One pot works every time. So if you make that rice, make sure you're also going to be making the other dishes that we've seen, the poulet sauté Ronsard, and serve both together to have the ultimate effect. Let's go. So let's begin. So if you're not familiar with this pilaf rice technique, it is a very simple way of cooking rice that is based also on an extremely simple measurement that does not require a scale. And it goes as follows. Typically, you have one measure of rice, doesn't matter what measure it is, and 1.5 measure of water. Water is going to give you the base version of that rice. If you want something better quality, restaurant quality, you replace the water by stock. Any stock that you want, chicken stock, you can do beef stock, but maybe a bit strong, but chicken stock is fine, for instance. So here, I've got 200 grams of rice and 300 grams of water. So 1.5 times more. 80 grams of onion, I've got some butter, aromatic, salt and pepper, a bit of thyme and a bay leaf. Very simple. And here the key ingredient is the saffron. Now this saffron you see here, there's two styles. Let me zoom in. So there is the saffron. If you don't know what saffron is, by the way, a picture on the screen, it is that part of the flour, the inside of the flour. This is called pistil in French. I don't know how it's called in English. But these are the little threads that sit inside the flour that you can see on that picture. There's two styles. This is a saffron from a local farm. Okay, so you can see it's much more elegant. There's a very, very few twigs in it. This is the commercial stuff that you buy in the supermarket. Now they're all very similar, but what I want to do here, I want to just have a smell, a sniff of the two to see the difference. So this is, let me have a try at that. Yeah, it smells a good saffron flavor. Is there a difference between the supermarket thing and the absolute boutique homegrown saffron? Let's have a look. First, it's a glass bottle, so it's almost handwritten. It's like gold stuff. Oh wow, yeah. Oh, big difference. Yeah. This is much more floral. You can see the threads in here. Much more floral. Much more complexity in the nose. Almost like a wine. This is very straightforward. You think, oh, saffron, but this is lots of nuances, lots of different flavor coming in. So I think, yeah, definitely, if you can get your head on an expensive one, a good one, it will make the difference. And now let's go and make the recipe. Very briefly before we start about the cookware, I'm using a sauté pan. If you want, you can use also a saucepan, it's fine. We're going to use a pan, a piece of baking paper, parchment paper, it doesn't matter what you call it, and of course a lid. Okay, that's all we need. The oven has to be preheated at 190 degrees Celsius, fan forced on. Now the first thing we're going to do here is take care of the saffron. Saffron is not something you can really throw in your mix like this, in a dry mixture, even with water, because it's going to stain, it's not going to diffuse. So what you need is a bit of hot water like this. We're going to take, of course, the good quality stuff first. You see there's not many, not much, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to top up. So I think half a teaspoon. You can also chop the saffron in really tiny pieces, but I think about, is a half a teaspoon in there, something like that. This is the supermarket stuff, is not as good. So this is what I'm putting, roughly half a teaspoon worth, and we're going to mix that. You can see the color is going to start to diffuse. So without doing anything, you can see what's happening. My water really starts to get that tinge, and we're going to leave this quite some time until the rice is ready, until the last minute, before we're going to put everything in the dish. Okay, so leave this to sit, and then we'll go on the stove and start the rice. So for the rice, very simple. We put about 40 grams of butter in here. I put my heat on medium to medium high, and we're going to start to melt the butter first. the butter is melted, and immediately we have all of the onion, and then on a medium heat we're going to start to cook this gently. So you see, once they're in, that's the kind of heat. It's really just simmering and no coloration whatsoever, and you can have the fragrance of the onions coming up and they're going to soften, and that's all what we're after. Now in the meantime, what you're going to take is your water, that we have the 300 grams of 300 milliliters, and you're going to warm it up. And you can either use the microwave, you can use it on your stove, or maybe take some water from the kettle, it's fine. So our water is warm, ready to go. What we're going to do, we're going to take our rice now, and immediately, without doing any washing, anything, we put the rice like this, uncooked, directly in the pan. And we're going to start to mix it in with the heat on, now still kind of medium to medium low. And just for 1 or 2 minutes, we're going to start to mix it in, and it's going to get almost translucent, and that's what we're going for. Typically nothing more than 2 minutes max, I'm doing this in the pan. So while the rice is on the stove, just for that 1 minute, I'm taking my warm water, and I'm going to mix all that saffron in here to make sure I've got that big color. Do not use a wooden spoon or rubber spoon because it stains like hell. Even on clothes, be super careful, you would not get it off your clothes, ever. So mix it well, and then it's going to go into the rice. So very simple, we've got our rice. If you want, you can filter the water not to have the saffron threads. I'm leaving them in, not a problem. All right, and I'm going to mix everything together. I'm going to raise my heat to medium. And the reason we got warm water in here is to accelerate the process, because we need to bring this to a simmer. While I'm waiting, I'm going to add my bay leaf. I'm going to add a little bit of thyme, and I'm going to add a pinch with maybe a teaspoon of salt and a little bit of black pepper, white pepper, what you prefer. Yeah, not a problem. And then mix that in. And that's going to be giving some flavor, so it's not dull. And we just want to bring this to a simmer. That's it. So look at this lovely color. We've got that yellow tinge, and I like to have these little threads. Some people don't like it. You can also chop the saffron in very small bits when it's dry, before adding it, but I like the rustic aspect on here. So we have these little simmering bubbles on here, and that's enough. This is now the time to put the parchment paper. Now the parchment paper, I'm being rough. I'm putting a whole piece like this that is not cut to a round shape. I'll put the video link on how to do this. It's nice if you're in a restaurant, but at home, to be honest, it makes zero difference. The most important, make a hole in here, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna turn the heat off now because it's simmering. Okay, and we've got the parchment paper on here. Now the typical question I'm getting all the time, why do we put a lid on here, a paper lid on here, plus another lid on top? This is simply to make sure that the top of the rice never actually dries up. Because if the lid is at the top here, you have got a gap in between the rice and the top of here, and in some instance, the way it's going to cook, it's not going to steam the rice properly. So that's ensure the steams and everything stays at the bottom of the pan, and we still have the top on here, and that's why we have this. So everything is in here, the heat is off, I'm going to put my lid on, and we're just going to transfer this into the oven for 17 minutes. That's it. So we're going to let the magic happen, and when it's out of the oven, I'll show you the results. So let's have a look. We first going to have the paper, and this is the result. Let me adjust the camera. The result, we got a lovely color, a lovely yellow color, and this is now totally flavored with saffron. So always use a tea towel, you know, these oven mitts or whatever when you do anything, because here, what we need to do is called égrener. And we need to take some butter, okay, some pieces of butter here and there on the top. Not using your hand again and burn yourself to move the things around. Make sure you actually use something, a protective layer here. And we're gonna be basically here doing the final touches. So we're detaching the rice from the sides. And we want the grains not to stick to each other. So in the process, of course, we're gonna remove the aromatic. If we want, we're gonna remove these annoying things on here, which is the pieces of the branches of thyme that I have. Typically you have a bouquet garni, and you're going to go around and make sure the butter coats nicely everything. And it is almost finished, because when it's like this, we're going to leave it to rest with the lid on for another 5 minutes. But look at this rice. You see, I've done nothing special. It is, if we try it, it's perfectly good. Beautiful. It is great. If you think that you want to adjust with salt and pepper, you can do that now, and then you can serve it straight away in a dish, on a plate, put this in bowl to make this kind of shape or whatever shape you like. And remember that this rice, with water, it's fine. With stock, it's much better. So the better way to increase the quality of that rice is to use stock instead of water. But that's it for the quick video on how to make the saffron rice. I hope you enjoy it. Remember, this is based on the technique of the pilaf rice. That means you can make this rice without the saffron. You can use other spices if you want, and you will have a foolproof way of making a rice any single time. As always, if you have any question regarding that particular rice recipe or something else perhaps that you want to see that I've missed on the channel, let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to check our website with our courses if you want to learn more about French cooking techniques. I will put a link on the video description for how to make the cartouche, that round paper, along with some other useful information that you may want to check. Okay, take care all, and I'll see you next time on the next video. Bye. Whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry.